Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and we are still in a very flat market. It just feels like we're just waiting for blast off. Excuse me. Let's go right into it. This from Donald Trump. The greatest thing that Donald Trump is going to do that will set this economy on complete fire starts here.
They hired or tried to hire 88,000 new workers to go after you, and we're in the process of developing a plan to either terminate all of them or maybe we'll move them to the border. I think we're going to move them to the border. Well, they're allowed to carry guns. You know, they're so strong on guns, but these people are allowed to carry guns, so we'll probably move them to the border. Yeah. She said no tax on it. How about just no tax?
Folks, this guy's not only hilarious, he's unstoppable, and he's not joking about getting rid of the big you-know-who. Watch this. I'm telling you, mark my words, he's setting up the External Revenue Service to start bringing in tariff money, and after he gets that all set up and handles the revenue part of things, he's getting rid of the big bad you-know-who.
She said no tax on it. How about you can do that. You know, if the tariffs work out like I think, a thing like that could happen if you want to know the truth. You know, years ago, 1870 to 1913, we didn't have an income tax. What we had is tariffs, where foreign countries came in and they stole our jobs, they stole our companies, they stole our product, they ripped us off. And, you know, they used to do numbers, and then we went to a tariff system, and the tariff system made so much money. It was when we were the richest, from 1870 to 1913. Then we brilliantly came in with an income tax. No, we don't want others to pay, let's have our people pay. And then you had the Depression in 1928, 1929. I call it 1929. That was a bad time, but you know, you didn't have tariffs, and you had tariffs that ended in 1913. But it was the richest our country ever was. That was President McKinley. In fact, we're renaming the mountain, Mount McKinley in Alaska.
Make America rich again. And I believe crypto is going to be a huge part of that, folks. More on that later. I retweeted the Brad Garlinghouse Trump photo with Stuart Alderati, Team America, and you'll understand the reference here shortly. Here's David Schwartz with his Gary, who's Gary? And many of you that are younger out there may not remember that reference. That's a reference from the movie Weird Science, one of the funniest movies when I was a kid, where this woman they had created decided to erase the memory of one of the guy's parents, and his name was Gary. And so the dad's sitting there and he says, Gary? Who's Gary? Oh, me. Funny how things turn. Now, this is from the All In podcast, folks. The All In podcast is the podcast that David Sachs, who is currently the crypto czar, he was on this podcast, and now he's the crypto czar. Listen, these are the guys, they're talking about the takeaways from going to the crypto ball and the inauguration. And unfortunately for the children like Jack Mallers, they're about to get a big lesson in growing up, because this is what his biggest takeaway was.
America's going to basically turn a totally new page. We're not going to ostracize people. We're not going to play favorites. That's the other thing. You know,
if we've been through anything in crypto, we've been watching favorites being played with Bitcoin and Ethereum for the last decade, okay? Nobody has had to fight harder than Ripple. Nobody. And now the level playing field's coming.
Elon was there right at the beginning. But if you saw, all the CEOs of the major companies were there. It's not like he excluded Zuck because of his past issues or anything.
Or Sam Altman.
That was the biggest.
That would be the more
takeaway.
notable one, yeah, to exclude, yeah.
That the president doesn't play favorites, that this is like Team America kind of thing. And it was a projection of tremendous power to the rest of the world. This is what America's about. I loved every minute of it. And I think that this is exactly how the American government should be working, which is hand in hand with private industry to basically set the pace for the rest of the world.
Okay. So remember, Jack Mallers is the one that's telling everyone to lobby the government so that only Bitcoin will be in a strategic reserve and not XRP. But here he is talking about how it's all about freedom. It's ultimately all about freedom of choice, and he doesn't need the government. But now he's lobbying now he needs the government, apparently.
The coolest thing about Bitcoin, I like the term opt-out technology, because I don't need to convince anyone else. That's the other thing about Bitcoin. I say, hey,
He's trying to convince the U.S. government right now to keep only Bitcoin in a strategic reserve.
my buddies, you guys should buy Bitcoin. And they're like, ooh, I'm scared. Like, well, that sucks. And I move on. I don't need you to adopt it for me
I thought you moved on. You came at Ripple the other day.
to get benefit from.
You don't need anybody else.
Exactly. Right? So technology, which makes it peaceful, right? But
It's a free choice.
Point being is free choice. So what do I think we need for the
You mean the choice for Bitcoin or XRP? Is that kind of free choice?
world to be on a hard money standard? That's a question for the world, because I'm already on a hard money standard. You know what I mean? So like if Bitcoin goes up, roundabouts 100% year over year, everything in my life has been getting cheaper, half off, 100% growth, 2x. So everything in my life has been getting half off every year for 10 years. So I'm on a hard money standard. I live with peace. I live with love. I live with truth. I live with self-agency and with me.
Everything he's lived for the last 10 years has been on a non-level playing field. Bitcoin had a commodity designation while everything else did not. He's about to find out about competition. It's going to be fun watching this kid grow up.
And I live with a money that enables me to take benefit from all the innovation of humans and all the growth. People are building AI and shit. So everything in my life gets cheaper and cheaper the better humans innovate. So I don't know. You should ask someone who's on a weak money standard what it's going to take for them. But that's the beautiful thing. Is like, I don't need the government to say we're going back on the gold standard. All I do is take out my phone and say I'm done with this shit.
So you're already living on a Bitcoin standard.
Bitcoin's opt-out technology. All it takes is yourself.
Yeah, he doesn't need the government. Oh boy, David Schwartz laid it out for them. Why did Bitcoin maxis start attacking XRP out of nowhere? We started pushing for a level when we started pushing for a level playing field where government doesn't play favorites. That was always what makes what the maxis most feared. Cool guy. What happens to maxis if a level playing field comes to be? I think Bitcoin stays number one for a long time because the value of money doesn't come from its technology, but largely from network effects. But who knows? What's a long time in crypto? And then he says, that's a good question. I tend to think 3 to 5 years, but sometimes things seem to take forever and sometimes they seem to change overnight. They're not going to like that one. Here's a little reminder that remember Peter Thiel is responsible for J.D. Vance's entire career. He actually helped him become the VP pick. He's one of the adults in the room, and Peter Thiel knows.
From China's point of view, they want to get, they don't like the U.S. having this reserve currency because it gives us, a lot of leverage over, Iranian oil supply chains and all sorts of things like that. They don't want the renminbi to become a reserve currency because then you have to open your capital account and you have to do all sorts of things that they really don't want to do. I think the euro, you could think of as, was in part a Chinese weapon against the dollar. The last decade hasn't quite worked out that way, but that was, China would have liked to see to reserve currencies like the euro. And even though I'm sort of a pro-crypto, pro-Bitcoin maximalist person, I do wonder whether at this point Bitcoin is also should also be thought in part as a Chinese financial weapon against the U.S., where it threatens fiat money, but it especially threatens the U.S. dollar, and China wants to do things to weaken it. So it's sort of China is long Bitcoin, and perhaps from a geopolitical perspective, the U.S. should be a little bit be asking some tougher questions about exactly how that works. But some internal stable coin in China, that's not a real cryptocurrency. That's just that's just some sort of totalitarian measuring device.
All right. Let me let you hear the very beginning of this, because what you're hearing is the holy grail of XRP.
Yesterday, there was the proposal release of XLS 66, 65, and 64, if I'm not mistaken. And they all play together the role of basically allowing with 66 the lending protocol on XRP ledger, lending and borrowing natively. It's a gigantic proposal, right? It's just a proposal right now. Again, there's no code. It's just a proposal open to discussion to the community, us. What we want to do also here to talk about exactly that, lending and borrowing on the XRP ledger.
Overarching
That's all you got to hear. And then there's this. This is the guy from Omni, co-founder. This is the Austin King, who is going to be at XRP Las Vegas, by the way.
you look at maybe the market size, people are saying it's halfway there to flipping Ethereum. Possible?
I would say it's possible. I think
Really?
that statement might infuriate some people in the Ethereum ecosystem. And as somebody who has built in the Ethereum ecosystem since 2017, I know the culture well, and some people will be frustrated to hear that statement. But right now, we're living at a point in time where people still think Ripple is a payments company. They don't understand that they're leveraging their position and the regulatory tailwinds that they have within the United States to become a broader tokenization platform for the on-chain economy. And so from my perspective, what is being priced in right now is payments and their position as a US-based payments company. What is not being priced in is this broader tokenization strategy that I do believe they are the best in the world positioned to execute on.
This is interesting. Paul Graywall, CLO, he's the chief legal officer of Coinbase. He says, I've spent millions of dollars of Coinbase's money to defend Solana against the SEC lawsuit falsely accusing it of being a security. Bill Morgan retweets it and he says, too bad Coinbase didn't give XRP the same support when it first was sued by the SEC instead of delisting it. Exactly. Look at this guy. We're not scared of XRP. Bitcoiners know that Bitcoin has already won. The reason we're angry is because of all the new people you'll ruin with your centralized pyramid scheme. He's so worried about the people. And I said, you've already won? The level regulatory playing field hasn't even begun. You're just now about to learn about competition. For the first time since Bitcoin's creation, you got a glimpse of it in 2017 when XRP dwarfed Bitcoin performance. Then came the lawsuit and the regulatory pile-on. It's XRP's turn, and that's the fact, Jack. We're going to go into DAIXRP.com, and we're going to talk about a lot more. And, we look at the chart guys often, but wait until you see one of the chart guys' predictions on the overall market cap for crypto. This one will blow your mind. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Away we go.